Good morning, everyone. This is Renee from Nostalgic Needlework. It feels like it's been forever since I made a video, and I apologize for that. I've been very busy. We've just had a lot going on. I took about a week from stitching to work on my craft room / piano studio. I have it much more organized now than it was prior to that. However, I still have a lot to do. I am at the point now, though, that I can do some decorating, and that's exciting. I think this has been such a fun time for the world of cross stitch. Seeing the videos from Market and watching all of the designers and hearing little snippets of interviews from them brought it much more personal to me, and their pattern designing, what inspires them, that sort of thing. So I've been just really excited. I felt rejuvenated as far as what I see that I want to stitch. And just like life is a process, our life in our crafting or in our talents is also a process. And I'm finding myself not venturing from the nostalgia part of my needlework, but actually probably going more depth in that. I love antique samplers. I've been watching the videos that Beth Twist has made, and she has nurtured my heart. I love her connection to our Lord. I love the reflection that her designs have on history and connecting history with God's Word or God's love or simplicity, and I just think she's wonderful. Another person I've fallen in love with as a designer is Nicola Parkman from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. Hearing her interview of, I can't think, it was on YouTube. I'll give them credits below. It was really remarkable to just hear her speak about her love for samplers. She also has a great love for our Lord. Many of her samplers reflect that in one way or another, and it was important to me to actually order something from her personally, so I did that. It was exciting to get something in the mail that was from across the sea. So I've been well entertained with all things cross stitch. I have had a few finishes since I saw you last time. I can't remember if I showed this last time, so I'm going to show it again. I want to finish this entire series for this year. Little House, I can't remember if it's Country Cottage Needleworks or Little House, but they are very special to me. This one is Faith, and I plan on finishing them into little pillows. This is a piece of linen that I had in my stash. I don't even remember. I can tell you that it is 28 count, but I don't remember the manufacturer or even where I got it. It most probably was from Hobby Lobby. But I have room down here to do another pattern. I have that one already. I think I've bought 4 of them since January 1st. And I hope to finish all of those by the end of the year. Another thing that I had worked on is from Waxing Moon Designs. And I found them on Etsy. And they had these precious Easter egg patterns. Now the one that I originally saw, let me make sure I have it in frame. The one that I originally saw was done on a blue fabric, and there was a comment underneath it that it honestly looked like Wedgwood when it was finished, Wedgwood China. This particular pattern, that one was sold out, so I'm a pink girl, and this particular pattern called for Raspberry Jobelin, and I ordered that from 123 Stitch, and I got the pattern from Waxing Moon, and it called for chalk, the fiber chalk from the Gentle Art. I love this thread. I have struggled with whether or not, and I'll bring it closer, I like the variegation for Easter. I didn't want it to look like I had made a mistake and somehow gotten it dirty or something. It particularly shows in this area, but I think my final decision is that I really like it. I plan to stitch some more of these over the coming years. I'd like to have a little collection. I'm going to stuff this one as well, possibly more as a flat ornament hanging. I'd like to hang several of those from a little tree. But I may do some more colors on this raspberry. It's 28 count raspberry Jobelin, and the piece was 13 by 18. So I have room. This was the other side. I kind of struggled with which side I wanted to use for the pattern. But, you know, to be honest, this looked a little garish to me when I first got it. But once you get the pattern stitched onto the fabric and the thread blends in with the modeling of the fabric, I think it turns out to be quite pretty. And if you consider that you're only going to have, I want to do my finish in the shape of the egg, so you're only going to have a little bit showing other than what the stitching is done over. I think it's going to really be nice. So I've pulled a yellow thread, I've pulled a green Fancy Nancy, I pulled a deep pink. I'm just kind of experimenting to see if any of those, if I want to do more of just chalk or if I want to do some different colors. I've been looking at some blues also. So I haven't made any decisions on that, but that's my latest finish, hopefully to be a FFO sooner than later. And this is my Peter Cottontail, Teresa Vinette. This was a Raise the Roof design. She's also Shakespeare's peddler. I met her at Katrina Boyd's retreat back in November of last year. She is just wonderful. She's Kitten Stitcher here on YouTube, and I love her. But these patterns, she has many designed for different holidays, and I just think they're the cutest thing in the world. I did opt to use, they called for sampler threads, and I did opt to use DMC, with the exception, I did order the variegation thread that was called for Peter Cotton Knits, which was, let me look at the pattern here. I'm going to pass the stash with this pattern to a friend I have online. I have yet to meet her, Silver Stitcher. She had told me that she had always wanted to do these patterns, and I told her that I would gift each one to her when I finished, so I've got to get it in the mail. She's going to think I told her a story. I did do the letters, Peter's Cotton Knits, in Blooming Crocus from Crescent Colors. I did purchase for the tree, let me see, River Rocks, because I felt like that was a big piece of the total design. And I also purchased for Peter's house, that was Fancy Nancy green. I ordered the buttons from just another button company. I didn't have any problem finding them. And the fabric, which I have it just pinned right now, so I could give you kind of an idea. I guess you can see the modeling there. It's 28 count Summer Sky Jobelin. And I feel certain I ordered that from 123 Stitch. I'm so excited about this pattern. I have an idea. I, of course, thought I was going to frame it, but then when I got it finished, I've been looking for a washboard. I would love to have an old washboard, an antique, but if I can't find one, I've seen some on Amazon. I've seen some, actually Walmart even carries one. And I want to finish this in some way, hanging from or mounted on an old-timey washboard. And I want to Priscillify it in that I can change them out for the different holidays, because I have the one for Christmas, I have the one for Thanksgiving, Halloween, and I believe it's it's Uncle Sam. I can't remember the exact name of the pattern, but they're all by Teresa, and her partner, I can't remember her name, when they were designing for Raise the Roof Designs. And I heard an interesting fact the other day. I think both of the designers' middle names were Ray, so that's where they got Raise the Roof Designs. And I hope I'm telling accurate information. I've heard that on Flosstube, and I have every reason to believe it was accurate. So I just thought it'd be fun to pass that along. The buttons, I do want to point those out to you. There's a little birdhouse, and they're very inexpensive. Some were $1, some were $2. Easter egg, who wants to turn there. A little, what is he? He's a bee, a ladybug, a carrot, 2 more Easter eggs, and 3 flowers. And they really bring a lot of dimension. If you see the piece in person, they bring a lot of dimension to it. So I really enjoyed stitching that. It was during the winter doldrums here in Georgia, and I just needed a pick-me-up. So that really did the trick. The other, I have a FFO. When we were at the retreat, I'm sorry, that keeps getting dark. When we were at the retreat, Teresa had designed this pattern just for the attendees of the retreat. I don't know if it'll always be that way or not. She may eventually sell this pattern. In the kit, she gave us the jute for the pillow. She gave us the jute to tie around this rusty old pen. This is really looking dark to me. I hope it's not as dark to you all. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There. We received all of the threads to stitch with, and we received this pretty backing fabric. I took Vanna's advice and ordered me some Mountain Mist stuffing, and Teresa had this done, and I think she had it stuffed with walnut shells or something of that sort. It was more like a bean bag. But for my purposes, I thought a pillow would be better. The verse is, "Let your heart be light," that really spoke to me at the time when I was at the retreat. It speaks to me skill today. And Vonna, I tried to get my corners sharp. They're not as pretty as yours, but I did try. And I love Mountain Mist for stuffing the pillow. It was awesome. Good call, Miss Vonna. Okay, I met her at that retreat too, and she's just, I love, love, love her. My only whip at the moment that I'm actively working on is Autumn ABCs. And oh, is there a story to my madness here? I ordered, because when I first started stitching again, I had only been stitching the last few things at that time on 14 count Aida. So I had to get my eyes used to the smaller counts again. And I had ordered this 25 count, the name just left me. It was 25 count vintage country mocha, and it's Lugana. And I love the fabric. However, my calculations were off. As I generally do, I started in the center of the pattern. I got up to about Mr. C. Not enough fabric to even get all the letters on there. Well, I don't remember if I cried, but I came pretty close to crying. I was frustrated. I put it away. So I got it back out recently. I thought, I have to make this fabric work because I really like the modeling. Hope you can see it. I really like the modeling. I love the color. I loved everything about it. And then my Flosstube training came in handy. I thought, try stitching it over one. So that's what I've been doing. Yes, I was terrified. Yes, I thought, have you lost your mind? But you know what? My old eyes can see it. I do have a magnifier that I use sometimes, especially later in the afternoon if it's dark or getting dark. And I opted this time to begin at the top just to make sure I was going to have enough fabric. And as you can see, I'm down to pumpkin pea, and I think I'm going to be fine. The one thing about this fabric I've noticed is that it really frays. Seriously frays. So you definitely would need to, I hand stitched along the edge just because I was lazy and didn't want to get out my sewing machine. But you definitely would want to serge it or zigzag it to make sure that you didn't have a lot of fraying. I'm going to finish that up, and it's been hard because let me tell you, I've found a lot of pretty patterns that I wanted from Market, and I've been getting a few at a time, and it's been really difficult to monitor myself not to go ahead and start something. But I really, really, really want to finish this. I hope if you can see the modeling there, I just love this fabric. It has a nice drape to it, so I plan on finishing this as a wall hanging, and I think that the drape of the fabric is going to be really nice for that. So I can think of a lot of things I would like to stitch on this fabric, so I'll definitely do another purchase of it. I may get a different count next time. I don't know. I'm really enjoying this 25 because it doesn't hurt my eyes too much, but it really doesn't hurt my eyes at all. Let me straighten that out. I've been able to stitch on 28 without any problem. I'm working my way up. I'm going to try 30 and 32. I don't think I'm brave enough to try 36 yet, but we'll see. with all these new sampler patterns, that antique sampler reproduction patterns that I've found, I may just have to utilize my light that has the magnifier on the top and just let my eyes gently get used to the higher count. I may have to pause this video, and if I do, I will most probably post a part A and a part B. I think I heard somebody pull up in my driveway, so if I do, I'm going to be back. So don't give up on me. The beginning of, I guess, about the second week in March, my husband's commander, from the time he spent in Iraq on his second deployment, lost his father. He had been ill for quite some time, and they lived very near to Asheville, North Carolina. So Skip and I drove up on a Tuesday. We attended his services on Wednesday, and we drove back home on Thursday. Asheville is about a 3-hour drive, taking your time from our house. So it wasn't a bad trip at all. We got to visit with Colonel Cathy and his family. We did stay, we kind of treated ourselves, and we stayed at the Biltmore House Inn, which is on the Biltmore House property. Jessica and I had toured the Biltmore House on Christmas week, actually the week after Christmas one year, so we didn't do another tour. It was very tempting because they had a display throughout the Biltmore House of the costumes that had been used on the Titanic film, and I really wanted to see those. They did have one costume displayed in our hotel, which was lovely, but I didn't want to spend a whole chunk of money that I had put back, and it was a decision I had to make. Tour the Biltmore House and see the costuming, or go to Sassy Jack's, which is only about 15 minutes from Asheville. Well, Flosstubers, my friends, you know what won? Sassy Jack's. The thing that pushed me over the top was I had seen a video from interviewing the owner of Sassy Jack's, and she said that she was going to have some original antique samplers from one of the designers displayed in her shop for a while. So I know Skip didn't want to go to Sassy Jack's. I know that there wasn't a whole lot in that little town that he really enjoyed. There was a little coffee shop next to Sassy Jack's, and I was really hoping he would go in there. Bailey's on guard. Don't know what she's barking at. Hope she hushes soon. I apologize. But he was very kind. I had an hour in Sassy Jack's alone. I hurried up and paid for my stuff so that he didn't know exactly how much I spent. It didn't work though. When I got back to the car, he said, "Well, how much did you spend?" And I said, "Less than I had budgeted." He said, "Oh, okay, good." That was all the information I felt like he needed. Thank you, Skip. If you see this video, I don't think you watch me, but thank you for letting me enjoy Sassy Jack's without you standing over my shoulder. And he does have an appreciation for antiques, history, artwork, needlework. His nanny, who raised him, was a quilter. She had a great talent for quilting. His other grandmother did crafts, so he's always supported my cross-stitch habit, but you sometimes they just don't get it unless they cross stitch. They don't get the need that we have for building a stash ahead of time and for feeling the fabric and actually seeing the pattern in person. And so he walked around and looked at the antique samplers, and then it was pretty much done. So he went and explored the little town, and that gave me my hour. I did meet the owner. She's great. I met the little lady that was working in the shop was wonderful. And out of all my purchases, I don't have a favorite, but the most special thing that I got there was a sampler for my friend Jenny. Jenny's grandbaby was born. His name is Elliot, and oh my word, he is precious. He was born in January. I saw him yesterday. Thought I was going to get to babysit him for a little while, and I don't know why his mama was in such a hurry to get home from work, but she got to Jenny's house about 5 minutes after I got there. So Elliot and I had a good 5 minutes of nay Elliot time. But Jenny had told me if I came across a birth sampler, a birth project pattern, would I get it for her? And I probably shouldn't be even telling this because right now I am having a time remembering the name. I'll remember it though before the video's over. I asked her, did she want something really baby? And she said, no, it doesn't have to be that. It can be something that he can keep in his room for a long time. I just want something that kind of goes with his nursery. Katie did not baby out his nursery. She did a lot of forest animals, air balloons, hot air balloons. She just kept it simplistic but classic so that she won't have a hard time developing that into a toddler's room and then developing that into a little boy's room. So as I was walking through Sassy Jack's, this customer was in there. I think she owns the fabric store next to Sassy Jack's. They actually connect. And I didn't get to go in her fabric store because that would have been another hour, and I don't know that Skip would have, unless he fell asleep because he was in the car. And he might have fallen asleep while I was in the fabric store, and then I would have had an hour in there. But he wasn't asleep. He was playing a game on his phone when I got back to the car. So I might not have had any success anyway. So I didn't even try that. But I will next time. I love Sassy Jack's, and that looked like an awesome fabric store. But the owner she had some things spread out on a table, and she said, oh, she was trying to pick out a fabric, and she said, oh, I should move my stuff so that you can see. And I said, no, that's okay. There's a lot on the walls and the other tables I want to see. Take your time. Well, I did see the edge of a pattern there. And had she not said to me what she did, I might not have given it a second look. I consider this a God thing. She said, look at this pattern. This came out at market. And wouldn't it be a perfect birth sampler? And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's cute. But I was so wanting to see everything that, and I just spotted a wall that had all of Nicola's Hands Across the Sea samplers patterns on it. And I thought, oh, gotta hurry. So as I was looking through Nicola's things and I got to the next wall, it hit me what that sampler, the verse had said. It said, how wonderful life is now that you're in the world. What a beautiful verse for a grandmother to stitch for her baby. know I told you in a previous video that Jenny lost her husband to cancer last summer. Katie had gotten to tell Frank that she was expecting Elliot, but at that time they didn't know that he was a little boy. And that, any of the details. So this baby, every grandmother is enamored with their grandchild, but this baby has brought life to Jenny's world. Jenny's retiring from school teaching in the fall, at the end of this school year, and she's going to keep Elliot. And I had no idea I was going to cry in this video. So I'm going to pause it right here, and I'll be back with part B when I can get myself together. See you soon.